Hello again, welcome back. First of all, thanks everyone who's subscribed over the past few weeks. I've got 200 more subscribers than I had when I picked this up again a few weeks ago. In all honesty, I wasn't sure there would be a demand for this sort of thing. It seems quite clear that there is. I've had some help from Com2Us themselves. They've sticking a link to my page on their forums and they've featured me on the Facebook page. I'm sure that's how a lot of you guys arrived here, so big thanks for that. Anyone watching, please subscribe. It really encourages me to put more videos together if you're interested. What I'm going to do over the next few weeks, I'm going to try and put together a sort of whistle-stop walkthrough of all the World Championship courses. I've thought about doing an in-depth guide to every hole, talking about how it would play to all stat levels. It would just take too long to do that. What I'm going to do, because it takes so long to do, I'm just going to run through a very quick guide to each hole. It's not intended to be comprehensive. A quick look at each hole, what's possible, common mistakes, how to avoid them, that sort of thing. If you've got lower stats, you won't be able to pull off a lot of these shots. I think it's still worth a watch because your stats are going to gradually increase and you'll get an idea of what is possible as you get more power. I'm going to do the videos in the order they come up in the World Championship. I'll start off with Whitecliff out from the 4th tee. So first hole is par 3 with a pin at the back where it is now. The best shot is to bounce it on the fairway, which you'll see in the front. We've got a bit of left to right wind, so just for that we want the ball to be hitting the fairway to take the pace off it. If you land it on the green there, you've got nothing to work with and it'll roll off the back. So adjustments, etc., you'll have to work out a lot of this yourself. It's really just to give you an idea of the sort of shot you can play in certain situations. So as you can see, that's hitting the fringe in front and it's rolled a little bit past, but not too difficult to pot that one in. So best you can do on here, unless you get a hole in one birdie on the first, and we'll move on to the next. Next hole is a par 4. Depending on the wind, you might have to draw it. If you've got a left to right wind, there's a tree in the way now that didn't used to be there. So you might have to draw this, which changes the shot a bit. In this case, I've got a right to left wind, so I'm just aiming out to the right. You'll notice I'm aiming quite far out. It's a long shot. The further it's going and the more lofted your club, the more the wind's going to take it. So it looks like we're aiming way out to the right, but you'll see, even with a 2-yard wind, that's going straight at the pin. And a regulation eagle putt. Again, I think as I've said in the introduction, a lot of you guys won't be able to reach these greens, and I'm not really making any apologies for that at the minute. The idea is of this to give you an idea of what you can do. Equally with this, I can make the green here from the 4th tee. I've got a lot of stats. You'll be able to do this from the 1st and 2nd tee if you get to kind of 2,000, 2,500 stats. But from the 4th tee, it does require quite a few stats. But this is all about the distance. Too hard, it'll go off the back. Too soft, it'll get caught up, or possibly even clip the top of that huge mountain there. So obviously you need to make some adjustments for the wind, but the biggest thing here is just getting your distance right. Okay, so next up we have another par 3. And if you notice, it's red to the left there and it gradients the kind of down to the right, sloping away to the right. So for that reason, although the wind's pretty straight, I'm aiming just to the left of the pin, because you'll notice as it lands, the ball's going to kick off, not hugely, but it will roll away to the right. So it's tricky at first, but you'll get used to which green slopes which way, where the best way to leave the ball is, and you always want to be trying to leave an uphill putt if you can. Obviously not too far away from the hole, but an uphill putt is way easier than a downhill putt. So always try and bear that in mind if you can. This one, the trees at the front of a fairly recent addition. You used to quite easily just bounce this over the bunker and it was a fairly standard shot, but now it means you've either got to clip the trees, which is, you have to be very, very accurate. Too short, it'll land in the bunker. Or in this case, I'm actually playing a sky shot. Again, a fairly new addition. If you watch how high the ball travels, it's going to totally take those trees out of the equation. Totally unrealistic, I believe. I've never seen a real golfer hit it this high. But as you can see, right up there in the orbit, and then it's going to drop because the green's got a fairly decent back to front slope. You can stop it quite quickly, as you see there, with a very lofted club, and as lofted as you can get with a sky shot. It's going to stop pretty dead. Again, a standard eagle shot. You will leave yourself in much trickier positions. Trying to get the score, I think a perfect round for me from this tee is 18 under. It's a real job to actually get that, but again, the purpose of this isn't necessarily to be particularly realistic. It's just to show the best possible shots you can play on each shot. On each hole. I can just about make the green here. The wind's a little bit prohibitive, but you can see it does run on quite a little bit on that with the fairway, and it's going to run towards the hole. If the pin was at the back there, I would have a real job to put that for eagle. It'd be quite a tricky putt. But with the pin where it is there, that's not too tricky at all. I'm using a guide. You'll notice that's quite interesting. The lineup, it was going to go into the right of the hole, but I hit it a little bit softer. Now, obviously, the break's going right to left, and the position it was going in the hole was based on the speed I was hitting it. But if I hit it a bit softer, the break's going to take a bit more. So you'll see that quite a bit. I'll adjust the line, not necessarily by moving the marker, but by changing the pace that I'm hitting it. This one is all about distance again. I'm going to try and bounce it just in front of the green. I hit it about 90%. I just know that from previous experience. Again, your stats would mean totally different. You might not be able to reach the green. You might need a different percentage if you can. But you'll see it bounces in front. You've got to be careful. Too short and it'll hold up. Too hard and if it lands on the green, it'll go off the back. You can play a more lofted shot, landed on the green, and it will stop. But where the pin was there, I didn't want to be at the back of the green. It'll leave quite a tricky putt. Again, this is one where I'm hitting a little bit softer than the line, and that'll make it take a bit more break, and it goes fairly central in the hole rather than to the left as it was there. So we're flying through these. Again, as I've said, I could spend a lot of time on this, but there's potentially 38, well not potentially, I think there's 48 games in the World Championship, and 38 of them are on unique courses, as in a particular course and tee combo that you don't, there are 38 individual course and tees that I'm going to need to make videos for, essentially. So for that reason, that's why I'm flying through them. Didn't even talk about that one. Basically, if the pin's at the back, you can land it on the green and the ball will stop, but there is a very long slope away from you, so it will roll off. This one, we used to be able to draw, but since they put that tree there, that's no longer possible, which is a shame because it was much easier to draw, but I guess they did that on purpose. There's a few ways you can do this. With a left to right wind, you can actually just play a normal shot or a power shot, and it'll hit if you get the distance right, it'll hit the front of the fairway. What I'm doing here is I'm actually playing a low shot. With the right to left wind, there's a couple of different ways you can approach it, but if I play a low shot, I know that if I get the line right, it will hit the tree a bit, get the pace taken off it, and you should see it'll roll up onto the green up the hill. Quite hard to get it just right, but it's a good way of making the green when you've got that right to left wind, which makes it a lot more tricky. So this should be a tap in. So I'm going to move on to the next course very swiftly. Again, flying through these. I'm going to try and get a couple done every day. So in a few weeks we should have a whole list of World Championship courses you can maybe refer to if it's any use to you.